Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Shifting Gears. I am your host, Clutch, joined by a plethora of wonderful guests that were all at the MLG Winter Championship, introducing, in no particular order except of awesomeness, which they're all equal, MLG Wigan, MLG Omerta, Tumba, Adebisi, and Dylan Laurie. Gentlemen, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
All right. Looks like I missed something. Cool.
It's an absolute pleasure, Clutch. Thank you so much.
Oh, my gosh.
It's great to be here, buddy. Dylan, you look you're a picture of sartorial splendor this evening. I'm going to try to make my voice match. I'm going to try to make my voice match the way you look. Spectacular.
Here to set precedents. I'm here to set precedents.
All right, let's start off before we keep commenting on the very dapper Dylan. Gentlemen, we had a wonderful event at the MLG Winter Championship in Columbus, Ohio. The weather was great outside. The venue was fantastic. And there were some great games on all spectrums of the convention floor. StarCraft 2, Halo, and all the fighter games. It was really cool to meet a lot of the fighter game community, especially the guys that were working behind the stage to make that great production. They had to balance, three different games and multiple languages. So, in StarCraft, you have to kind of balance multiple languages. So it's cool to see that the winner was from Mexico for King of Fighters 13. But we will definitely get into that later. To announce all the winners, big congratulations to the winner of King of Fighters 13, IGL Bala, and then Soul Calibur 5, Kiev, Mortal Kombat, VVV, CDJR, Halo Reach Status Quo, and StarCraft 2's Marine King Prime. Very excited to see him win in front of so many people, especially since he won at the MLG Winter Arena. And the look on his face when he won and nobody knew what to do, and then somebody yelled, "He won! He won!" And then some people walked over and shook his hand. But what a difference it was to be in front of a huge crowd to win such an amazing event and to be up against DRG. Great storyline there. Also later on we're going to have open phones. I'll announce when we start that up. But the address on Skype to call is JG Clutch. And if you have any insight or opinion or constructive criticism to give about the event, we would love to hear it. So guys, let's go ahead and start off with talking about Halo. I watched a little bit of the finals for the game, but I would really like to talk about the fans showing up in at this event. It seemed like Halo was at the cutting block a bit, but the fans really showed support at the live setting. So Wigan, any thoughts on that?
It was really cool to see. I'm not gonna lie. Halo's one of those games that it's kind of easy to take shots at, but it's pretty cool when you see a bunch of people get together and be passionate. And I think people really had that feeling that might have been like the last Halo event unless enough people showed up, kind of thing. So it's nice to see the community really come out for it.
It was. Were you able to watch any of the finals?
I got to watch the actual finals, which was really. I'm not a big Halo guy. I play it some here and there like everyone else, but it really it drew me in a lot more than I expected, especially because it was such a close final. So it was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah. Would anybody else want to comment on Halo? No, none of us really followed.
Oh yes,
a lot of it during it. Okay, Tumba, go ahead.
Oh yes, for sure. Gandhi, my boy. We're the odd couple. We're like the first interracial couple in gaming because we hang out at the Twitch parties, and he's Halo, and SC2. But he's walking around like this is it, swan song. Like I'll be getting everybody water and coffee after this, so he's practicing doing that. So I was a little upset because I don't think that's going to be the case. He will not be getting me water, because I truly believe, I think Adebisi said it too. Like there's times where the crowd yelled, and it's like, wait, nothing happened. It's Halo. So, the kids needed a little kick in the butt to get out, but they came out. And I remember seeing a tweet by Adam saying, listen, West Coast typically doesn't do great for Halo, but, we'll see what happens in East Coast. So hopefully for the next East Coast tournament, and of course, I'm not sure what's been announced or whatever, but I would assume it'd be in or around the Raleigh area. I would hope to see Halo come back because, again, it's good to see. You never want to see any video game die. I was glad the community showed.
Yeah. Well, it's good that we had a shooter up there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Anybody?
I mean,
Anybody else?
That crowd, I don't know. It's just like that crowd really, I thought was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
I've been to every MLG since Raleigh, so I've never like seen Halo in its prime, and it's like when they were talking about getting rid of Halo, it's like yeah, I think it's kind of due, but then seeing this, it's like damn. So I don't know. I'm kind of guessing it's not going to be in Anaheim because it's pretty clear they're going to have a MOBA title lined up for that. But
Yeah.
it really seems like after Anaheim, people are behind it, and I think that's good. And I think this is like really good for the Halo community because even if they're not at Anaheim, this is like shit. There is still people that are pretty hardcore about it. So didn't see a second of Halo. I was too goddamn busy the entire time. But it was good. I certainly heard about a lot of Halo because that crowd is like I'd be looking at the mini map. I hear this massive roar, and I'm like, oh fuck, did I miss something? And it's like, oh no, no, it's just the Halo people. So
Yeah, very impressive, very impressive. Very close finals as well. I think it was, 50-48 at the very end?
Yeah,
with
the
score.
game 11.
Game 11. Yeah, well, it's really good to see that, especially since this game helped build Halo, or helped build MLG. This was like the house that Halo
it's
built.
why MLG exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I heard some people talk about... Oh, go ahead, Alberta. You had something to add?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say, unfortunately, it's well known within the Halo community, and especially all the people at MLG, that West Coast events get the lowest attendance by far as teams go.
Uh-huh.
So it's just gonna be rough if they don't get on the circuit. I'm sure everyone will be upset, but I mean, it'll open up, them making a huge comeback in an East Coast event where they generally have bigger attendance. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it was cool to talk to some of the people behind the scenes with Halo about the hope of Halo 4. And that's really going to be with the developers of that game if they want to increase the potential of esports, especially a better observer mode for Halo 4. We'll see where that happens. But once again, gentlemen, it was really good to see a strong passion for Halo at that event. Let's move on to fighters. Dylan, this is going to be your forte since you covered the fighters during this event. Behind the scenes, the StarCraft stream was next to the fighter stream, so I got to interact with the production staff back there and to see their excitement. They're just going nuts backstage with some of the combos and other things that happened during the games. Was really cool to see. And I think it was a really good step in the right direction for MLG and the fighting game community to work together. But the floor is yours, sir. What are your thoughts?
That's a vague question. By the way, you pronounced my last name wrong at the beginning. I'm kind of mad about that.
This guy.
Oh, gosh.
But anyway.
Me and getting things right. I don't know. Something's going wrong.
You should have just said Team Polt.
Team Polt.
And we would all win.
That's right. That's right. That's my
And
backup.
there's the first Bolt joke. I was dying to do it, but I said, you know what? Not going to be the attention whore of the show. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Inside joke.
Okay.
No, but I don't know, the fighting game community and MLG, that was a big step, like you said. It's still the fighting game and esports, as they like to call MLG, and any big event that we're going to put on for fighting games. They don't really care for it yet. I say they as in it's a broad spectrum of thought right now.
Okay.
Because there are a distinct few, like Arturo, you had Juicebox Abel. They were all coming forward and saying, you know what, let's embrace the esport of fighting games in MLG.
Yeah.
And that's really what we all want, I think. But there are, the grassroots diehards for fighting games that just don't like what it's coming to. And I hope that what they saw from MLG, I hope they take something good away from it, because it was an awesome tournament and it was awesome to watch. All three games, even though the biggest turnout was Mortal Kombat, and King of Fighters is arguably the best fighting game out right now. Only had 25 attendees, but going to Anaheim, I hope it's still there, because West Coast is going to bring a lot of good people, and it's only going to grow. And the grassroots love for it, I think that they just need to give MLG a chance, because it really was a great showing of good fighting game talent. People were playing at such a high level. And it's just another tournament. I mean, there doesn't need to be a string attached to it. It's just another tournament. It's just another event that people can go to and win some money.
Yeah, it's very true. There was a bit of a difficulty, though, with the viewership because a lot of people were at the NorCal event that was happening. But Arturo was the director of the stream, and he did a fantastic job. Got to meet Phil, who was one of the casters and casted, I believe, for all the games, but especially for Mortal Kombat. He had a Mortal Kombat tie that looked amazing. But all the guys there were really excited to be there, and they were really passionate. And I believe MLG hired the right people that knew how to project that passion and importance of what was happening in the game onto the stream so everybody else could see that either on the floor watching live or anybody that watched it online. So
Arturo really put together a solid tournament. He put together the most of the people. I mean, he had all the connections. His Twitter, if you want to follow him, is NYC Furby, but if you're in the fighting game community, you're going to be following him already. But he knows so much. And from all the really big competitors I talked to, they live for Capcom games. But of course, through difficulties, we're not going to have a Capcom game at MLG for a while. But even though they weren't Capcom, Mortal Kombat was amazing. Just the ending of it, going full game 11, I don't know, it's just, it went the distance, and it's what you want in a fighting game, and just the combos and all the gore, all the babalities, the fatalities. It's what you want in a fighting game, and it was really awesome, and I hope people give it a chance. That's all we can come out of the first event having fighting games since Tekken on the MLG Pro Circuit, but it's really what we got to come out saying, because it was really good. It was just a fun time.
Where I sit backstage when I'm watching the StarCraft 2 matches or prepping for an interview or any sort of task I'm doing, since the production staff was next to me, I got to watch a little bit of what was happening with the different games and to watch the different combos in Soul Calibur 5 and King of Fighters 13 and Mortal Kombat, especially when Arturo and everybody else is going nuts backstage. And then you see the fatality at the end. That's a capstone of an incredible move that the person did. Was really cool to see, because out of all those fighting games, Mortal Kombat is the one I understand the most. I destroyed somebody I know at a NOS event in Mortal Kombat, which was a lot of fun. So, to me, it's my favorite fighting game. So to see that amount of passion exist live next to actual humans was really entertaining, and I'm really glad to see that. Does anybody else have anything to add to Fighters? Because I know we're going to talk a lot about StarCraft 2 before we have open phones.
Yeah. Go. Somebody talk.
I'll just add that. Oh, go ahead, Galen.
I was just going to say I didn't get to watch a whole lot. The one thing is I was a little bit disappointed by the live crowd. Like, I really wish it had been bigger, because I know the fighting scene, like, their crowd gets very, very intense at live events. And the other thing, Dylan, you and I talked about a little bit, was just that in general there was a lot more negative community feedback than I think there should have been. The fighting game community has like this sort of hipsterish vibe about it. They want to keep everything low key. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but that's just kind of the way it is. Like, they like to keep everything off mainstream, real low key, like grassroots kind of thing. And so people were just automatically opposed to MLG without like really giving it a chance to do anything. So I'm really hoping the community opens up to MLG.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just add that I kind of agree with the stuff with how many viewers are there, but I think Anaheim will be really interesting to see, especially because I think that the people they had working, like Arturo, I don't really know the fighting game community well, but I had a pretty long conversation with him on Friday, and I was like, man, that is one smart guy right there. And I think now that they're like the people they had in the behind the scenes running things, like they've done one event. So for Anaheim, where hopefully there won't be a conflicting event or anything, and then the fighting game people will really come out, and it should be pretty cool. I don't know. Hopefully I'll get more breaks there maybe, and I'll be able to watch some of the other games too and see.
I doubt that.
Yeah. Well, what was it?
It's not how MLG works. No breaks.
No breaks.
What was it? Was it 3 weeks with the announcement of the fighters until the event? It was about 3 weeks time frame, right?
It was about a 3-week notice, yeah.
Yeah, well, now, since we've seen it on the circuit, people can have a better, hopefully have better...
Although,
go ahead.
I don't know if they've made it explicitly clear which fighting games will be back, or if it's
Yeah.
all of them. I know Sundance in this interview with Slasher, he talked a little bit about that, but it's fucking fly, man. He wasn't extremely clear about which game. I think he kind of said all three would be back, but
Okay.
I don't know. So I hope they really learn and try. I mean, it's the same thing with StarCraft 2. We've got the DreamHack conflict. Like, the more these organizations can really let people know what they're doing ahead of time, you know, even if you've got venue negotiation contracts you're trying to work through and whatever else, like, it's in your benefit. You know, if you got to pay a little bit more to get that news out sooner, it's going to help you. So
It's so ridiculously silly. Like, there's not that many major tournaments that these guys can't get together and go, hey, I got a great idea. Before we schedule these things, why don't we figure out when we're going to do them? Because it's not like there's, you know, that much of the calendar. It amazes me there's as many conflict as they
Right.
do. I mean, even PAX and IPL coming up, it's like,
yeah, well, PAX at least is something that's not a strict competition, right? Like,
right.
But
More-
it is still unfortunate. It's still too bad.
Yeah,
it's
no,
still
for sure,
conflicting.
for
It's
sure.
still, I mean, it's within the space of.
I mean, because
of
let's
video
figure
games.
it, like, nobody cares about that. Because at the end of the day, when you pass on the numbers to the potential sponsors that make this thing go, that are put the fuel in the engine, the numbers are going to look shittier because there was a conflict. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you can't. You can't put a little asterisk next to that number like, oh well, yeah, of course there's another event
Those
going on this
packs,
weekend.
yeah, no,
it's
yeah,
like,
like-
that's money. That's money.
So,
Yeah, hopefully that'll get better. There were issues
yeah.
last
So
year.
are we going to talk about fighters next, or?
More?
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. We're talking about. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Are you paying any attention, man?
Tamba just woke up with an
all right, no. Full disclosure, that was the joke I promised Gandhi.
Oh my gosh.
Because, you know, and I'd be upset if I was Gandhi, right? Because nobody was here to, besides me, to represent Halo, and I'm not a very good representative of that. So,
Well,
but Halo doesn't have
when
credit,
is
so
the
that
Halo
comment won't
console?
go anywhere.
Yeah.
Is that tomorrow?
Well, hey, Gandhi, you follow me on Twitter, right? Oh, you don't? Oh, well, you know, we could have talked. Oh, but you have my Skype, right? Oh, you don't? Oh, we could have talked. We could have had somebody from Halo. Well, now there's no excuses,
Have
Gandhi.
Gandhi call in, man.
Yeah, now you can call in. You want to represent? Oh, you do? Oh,
no,
man.
no. Well, slow down. Let's get this right. I would literally be a better representative of Halo than Gandhi. Definitely.
No, man.
Definitely
No.
better than DMAC. DMAC, rap battles, not. Especially when you get owned by a white dude. Like,
No,
not-
man. We need Gandhi on here. We need a better representative for MLG, for Halo for sure. Because really, guys, it really was exciting to see all those people there, and the crowd cheers were rivaling StarCraft 2. But before,
Look at chat. Wait, look at Robin Wonders. Look what Robin, for those of you that
Wow.
don't know, is now a New Yorker. Language-wise, attitude-wise, a bum asked him for some change. He pushed him over. Like, I was like, Robin. Like, he kicked a bird on the way one day. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's like, I'm a New Yorker now. I spent 4 days in New York.
Who's getting the call from PETA first? Kicking a
Hey,
bird?
I don't know.
Whatever.
Me, because I live close to their headquarters.
Kicking
Uh,
a bird?
Kicking a bird. All
Right
right.
to Robin.
All right. We got to shift gears here. Anyways, Gandhi, call in. We have open phones, man. We'd love for you to come in and talk more about Halo. Let's talk about StarCraft 2, the event that all of us worked at, except for Dylan.
Whoa!
Snap.
Wow.
But Dylan,
Except this noob over here.
no. Dylan was busy, and when he does play StarCraft 2, he makes roaches and wins. So,
Yes.
Galen and Wigan, the floor is going to be yours. For those of you who don't know who Wigan and Omerta are, Wigan is a ref, one of the best refs. There's some players that will tell you that he is one of the best admin refs at the event. And Omerta is a writer and was in charge of a lot of the Twitter feeds that were going out on the MLG accounts during the event. But the floor is
Guy you get
yours.
to yell at about extended series and messing up scores.
Yep.
Some people might say Wigan's the worst ref. Just throwing that out
my
there.
God.
But definitely the sexiest.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
He has the power of the beard. But the floor is yours, gentlemen. You got to see a lot of things I did not in the player pit because we did not cover a lot of what was happening in the open bracket down there, unfortunately. But any major upsets,
There
crazy
were some
games.
upsets.
I definitely want to hear about the game of Naniwa versus Huck. But Wigan, the floor is yours first.
What exactly do you want to start with? Do you want to start with upsets, like something specific, some games? Where do you want to go with this?
This is why I sent you show notes so that you can prepare.
I mean, it's okay. Upsets. Galen, Wigan, please go over the major ones. Okay, well, honestly, one of the biggest ones to me was that random ladder Protoss Yata just sniping all these amazing players throughout the open bracket. I'd have to look up exactly
He took out Destiny, right?
He took out Destiny 2-0. He took out... There were a couple other really good
there
players.
were two other big names he beat. That well, I know he took out Derby too, but that's also
Derby
not
2-0.
going to draw dropping. But there's one other player that
Gosh.
I'm a little Wikipedia.
Nah, I got it up right now. Oh, he beat
Got it?
Killer. He beat
Killer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
he
it
beat
was.
Killer.
Yeah.
And he beat...
like
Oh, lost to Pima. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, well, honestly, it took one of the best Korean players with probably the best TVP in the world to stop him in Puma.
Yeah.
Like that guy was absolutely slaughtering nerds, and he's like literally just a random NA Protoss GM. Like, so that was honestly one of the biggest surprises to me, was just seeing that guy just completely murking nerds. But he was actually sort of an interesting story. He's actually I don't know if he's fully deaf, but he's mostly deaf, so he had to have people there helping him the whole time too. So it was kind of a
So like a caddy in golf. Use your 7-iron.
sort of. So that was kind of
How does that work as a ref? Like, how do they help him without like affecting?
I mean, honestly, just like a manager. He wasn't on a team or anything, so he didn't have a manager. But he had one of his friends with a VIP pass that would come in, and help him figure out if there was any confusion or anything like that. But for the most part,
Oh,
yeah,
like
he's
not
smart.
during the game at all, though.
No, not during the game. It wasn't
Oh,
yelling stuff in his ear or something.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
but
That's
What's
awesome.
sign language? What's sign language for roaches?
Build more of those. They're good.
This is for banelings. And then when you burrow, you go like that.
What did you guys think, Omerta Wigan? What did you guys think about Zaka's run? 'Cause
Dude,
he beat Puma, dude. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. Like first
sorry.
was
great minds.
Sock. I mean, he did terrible on Friday and Saturday, man. He
Yeah.
won one series. He won 2-1 against Rhett. Didn't win another game in pool play, and then just like came out in losers bracket, beat Puma, like Dave said earlier, one of the best TVPers in the entire world. Beat the Muslim, beat Crazy Moving a Korean Zerg, who's really, really good, and beat the STC, who's another Terran who's a really, really good TVPer. Like, he just made this amazing run through losers, which I would love to write an article about, but we don't do that anymore, unfortunately.
Dude, there was no way, Omerta. Like, you remember Orlando when the STC was the guy that had the debut like Hart when he went all the way through and played Huck?
Yep.
And Huck beat him. I was like, it came down to the winner of that was playing Huck. So the winner of the STC and Huck was waiting to play the winner of the STC and Zake. So we're looking at the matchups, and I was touting Zake the whole since Providence, saying this guy's got it, man. It's going to show. And then so Rob Simpson and I are getting ready to cast the next match, and I'm like, oh, the STC is going to end this run, like for sure. He's just so good.
Yep.
And then watching him beat that, I was like, there needs to be an article written about. I'm going to write the article anyway. Just put it on
should.
Liquid. or
Yeah,
something.
man.
You
Do it,
should.
man.
Really
Dude,
should.
And the cool thing too was watching him, man. He was getting so fired up after his matches. I mean, Reddit made like a little post kind of
That's
making
so
fun
funny.
of
That
it. Sake goes crazy, and it was just like him straight faced doing his computer. He was, man. He was like getting up and like yelling and celebrating. He was
fist
so
pumping
pumped
and
up.
stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool. He's a really smart player, like a good old Brood War player. So when he gets into his groove, man, that goes late game with any of these guys, he can definitely compete with them.
There's another guy that had a great run that probably isn't getting enough credit was Hart from Complexity.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody really expected him to get as far as he did, but that guy just like didn't lose a game until who did he run into that he finally lost to? Until Dongregu. Dongregu's
Yeah, he made
actually
it-
just
the
the
Hart made it
first
third place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only difference between the top 8 of the arena
And-
compared to Columbus.
And he had the game won, by the way, against DRG. He threw the one game away. But
One
Yeah.
on.
Well, it was a
Yeah,
best
I mean,
of 7. He was already down, but
I mean, he was so tired. I think at that, just like you cannot play that. Eventually, adrenaline I think wears off. So He was up. He's the story of this MLG in terms of the breakout though for sure.
Yeah, through the open
Yeah.
bracket once again, man, powering through the open
Yep.
bracket.
Honestly, the other player that really surprised me that got eliminated was Stefano, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Inori is a very good player. I'm not trying to discredit him, but Stefano doesn't lose to Protosses, man. Like, the only Protosses he's lost to recently are, like, the MCs of the
Can
world.
I
Yeah.
add some insight to this?
Sure.
I've thought about this a lot recently, actually, and God, I really want to make a joke about dancing, and I can't do it. But Stefano, despite previous tournaments and run-ins on Twitter, is one of my favorite players, obviously,
Yeah.
and I think Stefano is probably the best 16-man tournament player in the world. If you host a 16-man tournament with anybody, it's hard not to pick him to go. But truthfully, in these tournaments where he's a young guy, and I'm not sure he's got the mental stamina to get through an MLG. We're gonna have to see this year. Like,
I'll give you
It's-
my take on it.
yeah,
Are you done?
yep,
Okay, my take on it is that the way Stefano plays this game is like when he thinks he's like really, really far ahead, like that's when it's like, okay, it's time to stop microing. It's time to just rally the units to their base and have the game end, and that's how it's going to work. And so when Stefano has to play those first matches against like low masters and other terrible players, he just slacks off. And so he's not in like, because his attitude, he's here to win, yeah, but it's also like his effort, he's not giving 100% every game. He just does what he thinks he needs to win. And so I think that really, 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 really hurts him. And I think that kind of is why he did poorly. I'm really interested to see. In an interview, he said he was really excited about not excited. He's not excited about anything, but he said he wants to try and play in the spring arenas, and he said at MLGs he thinks he'd do fine in the pools. And I think he would too, because if all of those games are actually against good players, you're not going to just get lazy and then start coasting, because that's the thing. Like Stefano playing on the ladder, he just coasts. Like it's just coasting.
Yeah.
And if you coast, you're not. You kind of get into those habits. And even if it is like, oh, I'm playing. You just. I don't know. That's my take on it.
no, for sure. Like that's exactly what I was saying. Like put him with the 16 best in the world, and
Yeah.
like how are you not like that's going to motivate him? Like that's easy for him. The rest seems like more like busy work for him. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what is this? Like it's like. This is going to be a terrible analogy, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's like, Mozart going back to learning the scales kind of thing. It's like, oh, I got to go put in all this work to do that. Can I just get seated in? But no, unfortunately, you got to do the work.
Is Stefano the Randy Moss of StarCraft?
Maybe. He's got the hair.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, Mike. In the third game, the game that he actually got eliminated, Inori went for like this 2-gas 8-gate, like the fattest of fat all-ins that you can do against Zerg off the 2 bases. And he put his proxy down like in the most obvious spot on Shakuris Plateau, right above his third base, with a cannon to protect it. And Stefano just like never sent his lings around to look for a pylon in literally the most obvious spot. So I think he might have been, like you said, in that sort of coasting mode. Yeah, I mean, that's something that he never does. Like, he doesn't let those proxies go down. And I was talking to Idra during that game, and he said Stefano's going to lose as soon as the pylon went down, and because his timings are so exact. Like, his timings rely on pylons like that not finishing, and as soon as it finished, I mean, he was just done. So.
Do you guys think he got tilted after that match against Polt on the main stage?
No. He says he does not care about outcomes of matches one bit. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know. But you're human; you have to care a little bit. But like he said, I have no emotion after a loss. Like, doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't matter.
It's kind of disheartening. Watching as a spectator, like coming from somebody who doesn't play StarCraft, like at a high level, that's kind of disheartening to hear from a high competitor that he doesn't care about losses.
I was actually impressed by it. Like,
really?
If you can actually be emotionless after a loss, that would make you one of the greatest players ever. Because
I don't know. If you watch Michael Jordan after a loss, Michael Jordan after a loss killed himself.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But as a competitor, that's the kind of thing that will wear on you over time. Like, if you lose like 6 matches in a row, key matches, and you got to start to be like, "Whoa, I suck." Like something's happening. Like, you always hear how self-critical StarCraft 2 players are of themselves, He's just pretty much like, whatever. You know, it's a loss. Loss. I get what you're saying though, Dylan. Like from a fan standpoint, you want to see the agony defeat picture like you saw with the Muslim because that was captivating. But as a competitor,
it shows that you care. It shows that he cares. Like he wants.
I think he cares. I think he cares.
It's just like he just wants to win, and if he doesn't win, then it's like, well, it's like in the post Slasher's interview with him after MLG. Slasher's kind of like asking him, look, like since you've been eliminated, and then he'd ask him like a couple questions about where the bracket plays out or what he thinks about what he's seen. He's just like. When I got eliminated, that was kind of it for me with the tournament. And I'm gonna watch a couple games, but he doesn't get really into it. But he's still like, he still made it very clear he was very disappointed to lose to Polt and ashamed of how maybe not ashamed, but I don't know. Like it's funny because I think he's kind of evolved a lot. Like if you watch his stream when he gets up to 18,000 viewers, like he is like the happiest guy on earth and. He knows it's because he's making a lot of money because he's got that many viewers, but it's like he really genuinely appreciates the people watching him. Like, he's just such an interesting character. Like, he's one of a kind, man.
He is what StarCraft needs, right? Because you've got MC was like all through last year, the dancing, the Murloc suit, all that stuff is great, but MC alone couldn't provide all the stories that people need to talk about. So you need your Stefanos in there, you need your Naniwas in there, and you know, I think that. He definitely is captivating. For anybody that had the pleasure of getting to the Twitch after party, he can dance, man. He can dance.
Yeah. Stefano can dance.
Isn't there a video that Antipro made about that? I'm gonna look for that while we keep talking.
The one other StarCraft 2 thing I definitely want to touch on. This team came out of nowhere, guys. Team Polt just destroyed everybody. Like I mean, I watched competitive StarCraft every day, and I had never heard of these guys. They just came out, tore up the main stage.
Dude,
awesome.
Team Polt is the best team. A lot of riches.
The only team that I can think of that could have eclipsed Team Ecstasy. So
Team STC, I mean, they were good too. Like they were a surprise, but they weren't as dominant.
Team Polt #1.
Okay.
I apologize to Marine King in person. And I apologize to both of them on Twitter, and I apologize to the teams and everybody that happened. I have no idea why, but I did a AMA on Reddit for my responses there. I think I articulated very well. I know I'm better than that. I know the teams. I've followed Marine King since Wigan was telling me about him, and he was known as Foxer. And same for Prime. I've known of him since he was called Optimus, or for Polt, I've known him since he was called Optimus Prime. So
well, he was Polt first. Optimus.
You didn't know him when he was cheesing every Protoss with the GSL with one base all-ins? And
I don't care, man.
Anyway, it's nerves. It's nerves, and the more I do it, the better I'll get. And I appreciate everybody's kindness and forgiveness for it, but it was a lot of fun. But it happens to the best of us. Day 9, it was happening to him. It was crazy, man.
Let me know when your editorial comment's done.
Done.
Okay, because now I'm going to go a little more insight. So, Clutch is backstage, practicing the whole time team names. Like... This is definitely a case of going in for a test over-prepared. But I would like to take full responsibility for this just because you kept saying Quantic Naniwa, Quantic Naniwa, and you didn't practice any other team names, dude.
I knew all the other team names. That's why. Except for Polt had changed to TSL, and I was used to calling him Polt Prime, so I needed to call him TSL. Then for some reason STC came out of my mouth when I was up there.
Only you could pull it off, though.
Anyway.
But Josh, you don't owe an apology to anybody.
No
doubt.
No.
Dude, it's
shit happens.
no
but
big deal.
Yeah. You know what?
And I can verify that he was working on it too, because every time he would come out to the floor, we would mention it. I'd be like, TSL Polt. And he'd be like, yeah, TSL, I got it. Like, we quizzed him on it and everything.
Yeah.
By the way, in the chat for Skype, I linked the video of Stefano dancing. I don't know if you're particularly interested in
we'll try to get to that after Open Phones, probably. But no, it's something where I'm going to be the hardest on myself, on my own worst judge, and I'm really glad I have the position that I'm in. I've worked really hard behind the scenes for a while to make a lot of this stuff happen with MLG, and so I'm glad they're giving me a shot doing this. But the finals, to me, gentlemen, like, I wanted the finals to be a huge event for the crowd, because that is the pinnacle of that whole weekend. and I felt that if we had an introduction where I could really get everybody pumped for it, that it would be true to the caliber of these players. And I felt that we got there, except for my little flub with the team. And I'm grateful for everybody's comments about it, and that we could all laugh it off and have fun. But anyways, it really was a wonderful tournament. But speaking of working hard, I'm going to give the floor to Tumba because he would like to talk about the community casters that were there at the event.
Oh, I thought you meant I worked hard, because I was going to say, wait a second, don't give me the floor. Work hard and Tumba are not synonymous. But those guys did definitely bust their butt. But yeah, no, this is, I'm going to, just hit the cut off buzzer or start the get off the stage music, because I got a lot to talk about this. Because the stream started off myself, Robin, Adebisi, and of course Nursky and Orlando. They were solo casted. We did our own production. And MLG grew them and supported them to now having Cammy on production, who was amazing, because there's actually another hand there to go ahead and help out with the fact that, if casters needed water, anything, she was there to jump in and direct the streams and with the coming up graphics and everything else like that. And then it was tough because we lost Adebisi, to be honest. And Adebisi is a great caster. Like, he's probably the best caster out of all of us, to be quite honest. Yeah, I know a lot of people are going to say, no, Tumba, you are. I get that too. But no, let's give, Adebisi probably the best. And so it was hard to lose him, but what the mainstream gained in his obsing, I think, way outweighs what we lost. And only he could do that because he's that talented. So, and I know, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know he's very, very happy doing the obsing. But it was tough to lose him. On the other end of the spectrum, though, we gained great guys like Froden, who was announced he will be casting for NASL now, which I'm super excited for. Also, Silence was there, as well as, of course, Axel Toss, and he came fresh out of Texas, and Kibbles as well. So then it was just me and Robin kind of there as the, and I don't want to say veterans, right, because it's still, we haven't done enough to be really veterans. This is what our...
Yeah, but I mean, those streams are a unique experience. So you're definitely a veteran of
of those
of
streams.
what those streams are all about.
Yeah.
We watched those streams grow up. So as I and I said this, I told the story a lot. The whole thing with Columbus was I was in a Skype viewing party at last year's Columbus, and I always reference the probe kill by Idril with the links and the crowd erupting and us in the Skype chat erupting. And I got so emotional about that, and I was like, man, I wish I could cast an MLG. And a year later to see that, the beta streams have come this far and are now gameplay 1, 2, and 3. And, I really thought that those guys just, there's no breaks. There's a minute to eat. And, it was amazing. And the two guys that were doing the TriCaster back there also were amazing. And they were so very good. But, I don't want to go on and on. But I do want to say this. I hope people consider when they listen to these streams that Nick and Dan, Wheat, all these A-list casters are amazing, and they're amazing for a reason. They've been doing it forever. They've been doing it for a very long time. They've paid the dues. They've gotten to where they are because of hard work. Now, this next line of casters is coming up, and it is a huge commitment to stay up and watch all of the Korean matches. You want to watch them live, you want to watch GSL live, you want to see what happened. And, these guys work very, very hard at what they do. So before you get on a chat or get into a Team Liquid post and want to tear somebody down, constructive criticism is a way to make them better. So in the end, you will have a more enjoyable result than getting torn down. And I have to say I was very proud of the community at this event because a lot of new names were mentioned and there was tons of positive feedback. So I just, thanks so much to Clutch for spearheading the whole thing through the community casting. Of course, thanks to all the guys for coming out and giving 1,000% effort, not taking any breaks and going through it. And thanks especially also to MLG for supporting it because I think the fans definitely appreciate the extra match coverage. And that's it. That's all.
All right. Thank you, Tumba. It really was cool to work with a lot of those casters and to meet them for the first time, especially Axel and Kibbles and Froden. Echoing what you said, congratulations to Froden being one of the casters for NASL. It was really neat to have the stories of Stefano and Polt up on the main stage when I got to interview them before they had met at the what was it? The Aces? Was it the Aces tournament? No,
Assembly, yeah.
Yeah, Assembly. And then they met in the finals, and then they met at the Lone Star Clash in the finals, and then they meet at MLG on the main stage. So it was really cool to have that storyline happen up there, and I'm glad I got to do a pre-interview with them. And Polt's laugh in that interview was priceless. Priceless, man. I asked him, and he laughs, and I go over to Wani to translate what I said to him in Korean. And Wani's like, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was classic, man. That was wonderful. Polt has that aura around him that you know he is a super smart guy. He goes to the University of Seoul, which is the Korean Harvard. But that was another moment where I loved what I do, and I'm glad we can tell that compelling story on stage in front of everybody, and it gives more of a human side to these two competitors and a lot more personality. Having Dongray-gu and Marine King in the finals once again and on the main stage twice was phenomenal, and I thought it was a really good finals. DRG fought hard as Zerg. I was thinking maybe he could make a comeback, but then MKP won those two final matches, and it was over. And the Kong dance at the end by MKP was great, and the DRG swagger sunglasses sitting on the couch was fantastic. Shouts out to Coley for making that happen. Those were his sunglasses. Coley's the tech guy on the main stage that does a really good job of prepping the different computers, especially with all of the drivers and different hardware that the Koreans use, so that they're ready to go as soon as they can on the main stage so we can start the matches. He does a fantastic job up there. I felt overall, gentlemen, the event was really smooth. Adebisi with being a dedicated observer was awesome. It was really cool to hear him be acknowledged by the casters live and to see the threads on Reddit about him. And Adebisi, I want you to talk a little bit of your experience of observing, and do you feel that it helped create a better production overall of the event?
Yeah, just in terms of production, I think it's like something that's so long overdue. It's really challenging in a lot of ways for a tournament like MLG because it's not, it's not GSL where you got 4 best of 3s you're broadcasting and you're doing it again tomorrow. It's like you've got hundreds of matches and it's like you want to show as many as possible. So where do you allot your resources? Do you add more streams? Do you try and make the mainstream better? Obviously, with this MLG, it kind of ended up being the mainstream also had the analyst desk, and then it used to be red and blue, and they were kind of equal, but now it was kind of central, and so it's interesting watching the evolution. So I think just in terms of production, it's so essential, and I mean it's interesting because there's kind of a learning curve to casting with a dedicated observer. Like with Tastosis, I did day 3 of the arena with them, so they're familiar with me and like confident, and they're used to having a dedicated observer. Whereas with day 9, it's kind of like at first, we're kind of feeling each other out a little bit, and then I felt like it wasn't quite great at the start, but then as we get more comfortable and as he gets more used to it, it just flows so much better. And I mean, the analogy I use is like, it's like if you're watching a hockey game, imagine if the commentator was like trying to pick the camera shots they're taking. Like,
really
when you
tough.
say it like that, it's like, whoa, yeah. And I mean, it's the thing, because I watch them cast too, and it's like, actually just watching those guys, you kind of learn a lot too, because like Tasteless is very good at this. Like, he'll just like be standing up. And there's a very big difference between being hunched over in a chair leaning and like watching your computer as closely as you can, trying to watch the minimap while you're casting, and then being able to stand up and grab your co-caster and just kind of add more energy and liveliness to it. It's the same thing as casting with someone in person versus someone on Skype. It's a world of difference, and so I really greatly enjoyed it. It's funny because I, like all the times on the secondary streams, I never really ever get nervous, but there are certain times where I was just like feeling like, oh my god, like I don't know what I'm doing, like oh my lord, I hope I don't fuck this up, but I feel like
Hey, guess
I
what,
didn't,
BC?
so-
I got to feel that about every 10 minutes.
yeah.
So true.
So I hope other tournaments start doing it too, and I hope it becomes. I mean, all you got to do is look back at Brood War and be like, these guys have been broadcasting RTS in the most professional way possible for this long. What do they do? Let's just go ahead and copy that shit. And so, dedicated observing, important.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. So essentially, when you're on camera, every single word that came out of your mouth was measured to a certain degree by everybody. No nerves. Here, no camera,
Yeah.
no speaking, and your nerve. And you know what? That's a testament, though, to how much you cared about telling the story.
Well, it's also kind of with the secondary streams. It's like that's just added on, right? That's just kind of something that's bonus in a lot of ways. Like, but being in control of everything on camera on the main stream is it's just something else, right? Like that's what is kind of immortalized in a different way, like all the sponsor plugs and everything. Like that's the product that MLG kind of gives to their sponsors to create this, right? And so
we get it. We get it. You've been raised and promoted to the. I get it.
Yeah.
We get it. Secondary stream is secondary. You're now.
no, I mean
you're
it
in
is
the
what it
big
is.
show. We got you, buddy. I
Yeah.
miss you so much. I miss you. No, but no, he's right because like what it comes down to is, and he'll be too modest to say this, but and now I can promise you, Lee Chen and Puckett are gonna kill me because it's like, what's next for the secondary streams? OBS? Can we get OBS?
Well, I mean that's the challenge, right? Like
Right,
how do
yeah.
you-
But no, you're right because like we at Stim even like Newbie McNoob really good OBS, and when you can cast with an OBS that you trust.
Yep.
That's the key, because now you can click wherever you want, right? You're looking at whatever you want to see, and that makes it so much easier because if you've ever seen, like, if you ever watched Artosis' show, that's how he obses. So it's not like there's no way Artosis is going to, because he's just too all over the place looking at stuff. But the key is you have to trust your obs, and there's so few that can do the job. And out of beefy with you doing it great, I mean, it's that you're right. Like, if you're running a major tournament, and an OBS isn't part of the deal, it's a cameraman. It's your camera guy. Like, do you see NFL commentators running the cameras also? Like, it takes, definitely takes away, I think, from the top end of the productions if you don't have an OBS. And other tournaments should start doing it because there's and correct me if I'm wrong here, Adebisi, but there is definitely, like, a lot of dialogue between you and the casters beforehand just to get a feeling of how you guys are going to work together. Like, it just won't work if you plug anybody in that seat.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's just having being able to trust in the person you're working with and just kind of have familiarity and whatnot. Like, I would agree.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thanks
Probably
again.
the first time we've ever agreed on stream, but awesome.
Yeah. Bridge are being built. Adebisi, thanks again for observing, man. I could tell that you really enjoyed it. The Charlie Sheen shirt you wore during the first day was a little odd, I think, because if I ever would like to bring you out in front of the whole crowd and be like, hey, this is our observer, like, nope, can't do it. He's got to put on a shirt and a jacket. But, hey, as long as you were comfortable, right? As long as you were comfortable, you could focus on
I'm not a
things.
suit man. No blazer for me. I love it.
Suit, man. Nice. Well, gentlemen, it's time to open the phones. If you'd like to call in, do so. JG Clutch on Skype. While we are waiting for our callers, I want to ask each of you, what can be better? What can we do to improve the next event? Because I'm sure all of us are going to be back at the next MLG, probably in Anaheim. But first, before we answer that, I'm going to take a call. Alrighty.
Hard question, man.
This is going to screw up our overlay, but that's okay. Because we have Nursky on the line.
We are doing it live.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How's it
Hey,
going,
yo.
man?
What's up, dude?
Not much. Got to watch it from home. It was kind of nice, to be honest. Getting a chance to just sit there and chill out and watch all the streams from home.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan wants me to accept his video. I don't know if I want to do it. I think I'm going to decline. But,
He took his tie off. What the hell?
He looks
You're
even
definitely
more
gonna-
manly without that
did.
tie.
Getting his
Amazing.
swag
I think
on
it's
without
better
the
looking
tie.
as time goes. Sorry.
It's gonna do that.
So now that I've sufficiently messed up all of Clutch's cameras on the
I'm
stream
gonna, I'm
there.
gonna fix it in a sec.
No, first off, I gotta say a big congrats to everybody who was, of course, at the event. You guys all did an awesome job. Clutch got to show off some of his dance moves, which was pretty awesome, I think. I think a lot of fans. I was watching some of the chats and stuff on Team Liquid and stuff, and a lot of people were pretty impressed with your dancing there, Clutch. I think I was actually watching it in my living room, and my mother actually walked in, and she's like, "Wow, he can really dance. You should get dancing lessons from him."
Oh man.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a great event. Adibessa, you killed it with the observing, so congrats to you, man. That looked awesome. And just overall, I know I really enjoyed it watching from home. There's definitely some things that MLG can probably work on still. That I know I personally sent a message earlier in the week letting Puckett know some of my thoughts and opinions of just little things that can be improved. But that's really nitpicking because I think overall everybody did an awesome job.
Cool, man. Thanks. Well, thanks for watching. The event itself was fantastic. The whole dancing thing, we were waiting for the players, and they had me on the screen, and I looked up, and I went, time to dance. I started dancing.
Yeah.
And the meme was created. So it really was a fantastic event, and I'm glad you got to call in, man, because you were one of the
Yeah, for
people
sure.
that watched it from the computer. So,
Oh, dude, it was a great event. You guys did an awesome job.
right on, man. Thanks for calling. We got another caller here. Nursky, someone to let you go.
Yep, take it easy, guys.
All right.
Later, man.
All right, we have Axel, one of the casters. My overlay is so jacked right now. One of the casters from there we go. Invite to group call. I don't know how DJ Wheat does this live without screwing up his overlay. I gotta ask him.
Hello.
We have
Hi, Axel.
Axel Toss, aka no, you are Axel now, no longer Axel Toss.
Well, it's kind of like my real name. Like my real name is like Alexander, but I go by Alex, kind of sort of. So it's still Axel. It's just like Axel is taken on all the social media stuff. So I just put Toss at the end of it for fun. So just whatever you feel like calling me, pretty much.
Okay.
Kind of lazy like that. But yeah, thanks for having me. Congrats to everyone here. And my first question, hopefully I can ask more than one. There was an issue in the tournament as far as, you know, this has happened in the past where players aren't showing up and the admins have to make a decision. Okay, do we give this guy a walkover? Do we ask him, like, hey, do you want the walkover? And they talked a little bit about this on Inside the Game. I don't know if y'all listened to that, but it was Ostoji versus Puma. And Ostoji was tasked with the decision of being like, hey, well, apparently, I don't know if this happened. Of course, the admins here can shed some light on this, obviously. But apparently he was approaching. He's like, hey, your opponent Puma isn't here. Do you want to take the walkover? And I, like, my personal opinion, obviously, I love all the admins, love MLG. I don't think the players should necessarily be placed in the position where they actually have to make these decisions. And I don't know if anyone
can I cut you off there?
Yeah, you can
Like,
offer.
does
insight.
anybody think that the players should have any say in terms of walkovers being given? I don't know. This has happened before, and I don't understand why.
The
way
players
think anyone-
the players do have say in terms of the fact that they could just lose the game if they wanted, because that's happened before, like on purpose. You know what I mean? Because that is ridiculous. Like, how do you put the onus on the player? Like that's a great question, Axel. That's just an awkward. How could Wigan? How does?
Well, the way it's supposed to work is it's based like 5-minute first game, 15 minutes series. That's just how it goes. And then if the player wants, then they can protest it. Like they can protest it and say, oh, he shouldn't take the walkover and things like that. So it's not meant to be like, oh, you have to make this decision as to whether or not you're going to take the win or not. You're taking the win unless you really, really don't want to and you want to protest it. And then we get the tournament director over there and and they can go over it.
So that's for denying the walk. That's saying you don't want to take the walkover.
Right. The default state is if someone's late, they forfeit that game. That's the way it's supposed to go.
Okay.
And then if the player that would receive the win wants to protest it enough, then they can go back. So like in that situation where with White Raw, the player didn't really want to take the walkover. That wasn't in the rules. There was no ability for that player to protest that. So, of course, White lost the games. And then there was the whole cool story about him intentionally losing games. So instead, they sort of added this thing in where if the player really wants, he doesn't have to receive the win. They can.
I think that's a terrible rule. I don't know why.
agree.
I think that puts way too much pressure on a player to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like,
They're essentially a bad guy.
what is the right thing? I mean, it's
It's just
$25,000.
15 minutes later. Look, you're gone. You're not here for your game. 15 minutes later, sorry, you lose that game. Like, there's no other way.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean, everyone knows when they're supposed to be there and stuff like that. Like, that isn't...
Well, that's another thing. Like, can that system be improved? Because I know I'm not entirely sure the full like format of like when they're supposed to be there, but obviously there's been some issues regarding scheduling. And as far as I know, do you just put it on the microphone? Hey, Puma, please be at Station 1 right now. I mean, is there a schedule y'all give the players?
There's
is that
a schedule
possible?
ahead of time for every round and when it'll start, right? They'll never start early, ever, no matter what. They won't start early unless there's some ridiculous extenuating circumstance where everyone is right there at that moment. Like, they'll never start early, and they'll never have someone DQ'd because it started early. So if they're just there on time, then they're not going to be in any problem. Now, sometimes the tournament runs late or whatever because people show up late, things like that. Or, games take 45 minutes, it's TVT or something like that. And then maybe it'll start later, but as long as they're there when they're supposed to be there, no matter what, then there's never a problem. So there's always a set schedule before the event of when rounds start, and there's this info booth that is just constantly updated right in front of the player area. That's where anybody who asks anything about the time, that's where we send them because we have this clipboard, whatever, it doesn't update, right? So we'll just send them there, and they'll be able to tell them exactly when they need to be, where they need to be, who they're playing, whatever, where they are in the bracket, all that stuff. So
essentially, though, what you're saying is they added this to avoid the situation where the player has to lose on stream to make it even.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay. So it's actually they're just trying to. That's how they did try to improve.
It's still different than forfeiting a game to even up the series. Like,
it is, but in the end,
it's
up to the tournament director anyway. So if someone's 30 minutes late, we can't hold the tournament up. So even if someone wants to protest it.
Yeah, I'm just super against like any inconsistency in that stuff, and I feel like a rule like that allows for some for some of that to happen. Like for example, I don't think this happened this MLG, which is great, but like one MLG, like if a player has status, are they prioritized? Like, are they given a little bit more time?
You could say Cats had status, but he got disqualified because he was
Everyone
late.
is treated the same. I mean,
I think
I can tell you without a doubt that everybody is treated the same.
Yeah,
like
that's the biggest part of my job is I kick everybody out. Like
I've seen that firsthand.
Well,
Adebisi, go ahead. You had something to say?
I mean, in terms of I think the tournament gameplay, everyone's like the tournament running everyone's treated the same. But it's like I've seen a player pit where there's only Koreans in there practicing. Like I've seen it. Like so there is still I think a degree of special treatment. I think they probably got rid of it now, actually. I think a lot of that may have existed because of the League Exchange program where they really are under a lot of pressure to kind of, take care of, right? But
yeah, there's nothing like that now. There's the same warm-up time as the same stuff like that.
But just to go back to the whole, like allowing them to protest thing, there's way too many conflicts of interest. It's like, if I take a walkover win over, like, let's say an EG player. Let's say that's a team that any player might want to be on one day, and they're going to remember that, hey, why didn't you protest and let our player who was late actually play a series against you? And then they might, and then it's like, I don't want to piss off.
No, that's a ridiculous thing to ask.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying there's a conflict of interest, and you're gonna get 50 people tweeting at you, calling you an asshole, saying why didn't you play against?
I would have a simple answer. Once again, why? $25,000. This is my job. It's competitive. And you know what? Time is important, and that says you don't respect my time enough to show up.
But then
look at
the gimmicks thing. The guy got famous because he was so mannered, because he took
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Like,
good for him. Good for
And
him.
he's not going to win $25,000. He's going to get one round deeper. That's it. Like, sorry, but the average player going to an MLG isn't thinking I'm going to win $25,000. It's much. I mean, Dong Regu and MKP and a couple other players are thinking they're going to win $25,000.
I'll tell you right now that Zake started thinking about he was going to start making some money, and so did Hart.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
well,
It's like most players are looking to get into
that's
pools,
like crazy.
looking to get
Like
into the championship bracket.
Puma in NASL Season 1, where there were a ton of walkovers throughout the season, like, came out of the open bracket and won. Like, nobody saw... It's not like he said, well, I'm not going to win, but, you know...
But Puma is one of the best Terran players in the world. If you're a random playing in the MLG open bracket, like... Or not even a random, but even a pro player, you're
point
still...
is, the rule across the board, if whether it's a good player or a bad player. If it's Marine King Prime... And it's,
all I'm arguing is that there shouldn't be a player. The player should have zero say.
It shouldn't be up to the player at all.
I agree.
Just too much pressure.
No, I agree.
Ultimately, it's up to the admins and the tournament director anyway. It's just giving the player the option to protest it if he wants.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it can create pressure for a play. I mean, go read the comments on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on the Reddit thread where
Dude, here's
was.
All right, hold on. The thing about that's up to the player discretion for protest. Some people think that puts the player in a bad light if they're like, I don't want to protest it. I want to take that win. But let's close that out because we could talk in Theorycraft more about this, but honestly, it's up to John Nelson. John Nelson. These kind of rule sets, okay?
Thanks,
but we need
Axel, for
we
ruining
need
the
to
mood.
treat all the players the same because that's why we have those rules. They should apply to everybody, and they have been. They have been.
We do have somebody that wants to call in and comment it. Luca
Okay.
from the chat has been asking if he can call in. I think he tried to add you. I don't know if you have that up there.
Um,
And isn't
Luca, I do.
Axel.
Axel, thank you so much for the call, my friend. Great job this weekend. man.
Wait. Didn't you have a second question?
Do you have a second question?
Is it a good question?
I did. I had another question that
All right.
I wanted to get because I know a lot. Like the VODs just came out. I wanted to hear people's thoughts on the best games that weren't on the mainstream. But I can leave y'all. Like I can leave that to y'all. It's fine. I'll let this other caller come on. But it was a pleasure. Absolutely.
All right, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care, man.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one call coming in.
Galen, do you think it's Huck Naniwa? What people need to see, or was that on stream? Was that on stream?
It was on one of the gameplay streams. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it wasn't on
It's
mainstream.
definitely
I
one
didn't see
if
check it
people
out.
didn't see it because it wasn't on
Yeah.
main. They absolutely need to see it.
it. Or
Huck Naniwa game 2.
All right, we have Luca. Luca, you wanted to comment about the rule system?
Yeah, I come from a daily tournament, not going to name or self-promote or anything like that. So just generally as a philosophy where we come from, we try to write our own rules to make it so our admins never actually have to make a decision. It's clear cut. You never actually have to do anything. You go by the rules, you never stray from the rules. That way there's never a problem or there's never any discrepancies. So what looks like the rules you have seem to be incomplete, or they put too much ability on the players to make a decision, and they put too much risk on the administrators of your tournament to make a mistake. So wouldn't like a good solution be to restructure the way your rules work to take all the uncertainties out of it and just make it so that people who don't show up are immediately disqualified? There should be no leniency to anyone. It just makes more sense.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I guess it just matters as to whether or not you think the player should have the right to protest. Either way, it's pretty clear cut. Like, as an admin, it's really clear cut to me. If they're not there in 5 minutes, they lose game 1. If they're not there in 15 minutes, they lose the series. And there's nothing to say about that other than that if the player wants, he can protest. And then I don't have a decision to make. I just pass it along up to the tournament director.
But what
And he's the
Luke is
only one
saying,
that-
what Luke is saying, I think, is the problem is perception. Because if it's a clear-cut rule, there's no perception.
Yeah.
If there is a rule, the perception is that this player did or did not do the right thing. So if you take that in perception rules, so like Adebisi said, the guy's going to be labeled an ass if he didn't go for give the guy the extra couple minutes. So take perception completely out of it. If he's not here, it's done.
I mean, I can agree with that. That's
Like I'm with
fighting,
you on that, Wigan. Go ahead, Dylan.
In the fighting events, we had, no joke, at least 20 disqualifications, and not once did we even ask for a player to for his opinion for it to be overruled or not, or to have the choice, I guess. But yeah, the entire tournament we had over 20 disqualifications, and every single time we were just like disqualified, move on.
Yeah, I mean, it was never a thing for me either. In fact, I think the only person that even it was a discussion for was on that match specifically.
But like even like you should never actually, as this is my head. I'm a head administrator for a company. So like in our point of view, no one should ever come to me, and I shouldn't have to go to anyone else. Like I should be able to make the decision based on the rules there. So like as Tobias said, it should just be clear cut. You should never actually have to make a decision. It should just be instantaneous, just like you were saying. If you're not there 10 minutes, disqualified for the first match. Another 5 minutes, you're gone for the second one. There should never, ever, ever be a point in time where people can actually say or point a finger at someone and like say you did something wrong. Like, that should never be a possibility in the world. It's a big problem where we have the smallest chance in the world where someone will think they've been treated unfairly due to their lesser known status compared to someone like Puma or anyone world renowned. So I think that's a really, really big problem, and it needs to be solved.
Well, I think some of this stems from the incident that happened with White Row, right? He was late to a game. He was disqualified from the first match. The guy threw the next match so it could be even.
No, he was DQ'd entirely, and then they met again in the lower bracket, and he forfeit the first two. Like he just like attack moved his SCVs or whatever across the map.
That's right.
And so he did that for 2 games, so it was just a best of 3.
Yeah, then everybody was saying, "Oh, this guy is so mannered. This guy is so mannered." He did not have to do that at all. Within the rules structure of the tournament, from my opinion, the player didn't do anything wrong. It was just an unfortunate scenario that White Row was late.
Do you think he was mannered, or do you think that's stupid?
I think given the situation, it's fine. It's like he's a White Raw fan, and he
I
wanted
understand,
to play
but you're
him
at the same
legitimately.
competition as him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're going into. He's not a real professional.
is
He's not going into
Dylan.
competition with the same goal.
I don't know.
Like
I have
Anyway,
a
Luca,
problem with
thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you bringing this up. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, you guys are awesome. Enjoy.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
All right, we have another call coming in. Give me
But
one
seriously,
second.
I mean, you don't just throw games away when you're competing for money, man.
But
Dylan,
see,
I
that-
agree
that-
with you, man.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
there's-
But I can also understand where that guy's coming from, just because he wasn't there to compete.
Yeah,
for
it's the
money.
nice thing, but nice thing.
Okay,
I mean,
we have-
If I
Gentlemen,
thought I had a
moving on.
remote chance of winning,
Gentlemen,
I would-
gentlemen.
I would-
let's shift gears, guys.
Yeah.
Who is this?
This is our caller. Oh no. All right, we got trolled. We got trolled hard.
It was wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
At least Waddles got some airtime there.
Is that his name? Waddles?
Waddles.
All right,
His
all right.
birthday's
Hold on.
May 11th.
Got another call coming in. A lot of calls coming in. Ron, you're
Oh,
on.
it's Ron. All right.
Can you hear me, sir?
Ron, unmute your mic.
Muted.
Yeah, all right.
All right. About that whole EG thing. Basically, I got to talk to Scoot. Yes. Basically, about the whole EG thing. I talked to Scoots about the whole scandal or whatever. Apparently, Puma was watching JYP, like during his match. That's why he was late. And they basically asked for an extension period, but Ostoji didn't want to give it to them. So I guess like as retaliation, I know the Muslim tried to like demolish them in their series, and then when JYP finished his game, he basically cannon rushed him their first game and humiliated him. So what do you guys think about that? Like, do you think that's proper, or because I understand that Ostoji even went up to Stefano and like bragged about his skill and whatnot.
I don't think it like what your strategy in game you do doesn't matter. Like the only games I saw of Ostoji, it was Dong Regu. The first game he just did like a 14-14 opening, beat him easily, and he was like, "This guy, I'm way better than." So he 6-pulled him the next game, and he beat him with that too. And it's like, if you're gonna lose to crappy strategies, then that's it. And it really doesn't like what you do in game. It's all the same.
Yeah, but do you think it's right for the whole EG team to like feel disappointed and just looking for revenge, or you know,
I mean, I think you
play
should
more
try to
mannerly?
win as
I don't see how it's
Yeah.
revenge. It's just
whatever. I don't see
you're
it
just
as-
continuing the tournament, playing your games. Like,
Yeah.
No, but basically, their whole attitude was like they were out for it. Like I even personally got to talk to like the Muslim and Scoot. Like they said they were pretty pissed about it, and like they really wanted to just like beat him and humiliate him.
I think you should want to do that to every opponent you play.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
I'd
See,
agree with
I
that.
guess
seems
unless
weird
you
to
know,
me at
according
all.
to Adebisi, you've got a preset like, well, I'm not here to win 25,000, just 1 or 2 matches, and I can go home.
well, I
Well,
mean,
there are
in
people
that,
that are like that. You know, there's
no,
like
for sure.
tons of
Like
people-
no,
like-
for sure. Like Dark and Light went out, and he knew he wasn't gonna like.
like the only reason I would play in an MLG is because I want to try and play a Korean. Like, I just want to try and hit one, and so like I'm not trying to get into the money, right? Like I'm trying to. So it is what it is. Like that's. But I mean, in terms of humiliating him, it's like, sure, like this guy beat your player, so try and beat him as best as you can. Like, okay, if you died to a cannon rush, it's your fault. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, you died to a 6-pool, it's your fault.
What more can you do than beat him in a tournament? You know, that's going to matter. That gets into some dangerous territory, man, because you still, those players or any player, you know, they represent themselves, they represent their team, and they represent an entire community. And when that kind of riffraff happens, or big talk happens between these players, you know, it can get kind of ridiculous, and you have to watch those initial reactions that you have, because you definitely will have some fury bubbling up that you want to unleash on that person. But if they take a moment to breathe and understand, all right, this guy's going to lose in the tournament anyways, so let's just forget him and focus on the games and focus on supporting our players. That's what's more important than
I'm
focusing
so
on trying
lost
to tear
right now.
somebody
Like
down.
I'm lost. Like
Where'd you get
what happened to where he got torn down? Like did they make signs saying, "Go home, you stink"? Like
No, man,
What?
I
They
didn't see him do anything.
so. I mean, where's the?
like you?
Because
There's
personally,
literally
like,
nothing
when
you can
teams
do
get
in a
pissed at each
StarCraft
other-
game that's like worse than you would do in a normal game. Like there's just nothing you could do. Like you can't cannon rush someone any harder than you would than like you normally would. So it's like fuck it, who cares?
Yeah. All right, Ron, thanks for the call, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, bye. Okay, take another caller here. Oh my goodness, you guys will not believe it.
Dustin Browder caught up to me. Shit.
It's the Noobster.
Oh, what's up, guys?
Newbie McNoob. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Technically,
so-
still the number 1 obs. There's 2 obs now in the call. You got Adebisi
Oh.
and
On, yeah, Noob.
I don't know, man. I was watching Adebisi. That was some number one. That was some new China number one stuff.
yeah, buddy.
Yeah. All right, Newbie, do you have a question for us, good sir?
I do. What do you think about In Control calling out that Halo player? If you talked about this, I apologize. But
Oh.
because personally,
think-
I want to see them go head to head, but not in StarCraft and not in Halo. I want to see them go head to head.
Neutral territory.
Can we get like
In DDR.
a game, like triathlon?
Like draw this or draw some.
Draw something. Yes.
Something.
I was under the impression though that the Halo guy called him out in the first place,
Yeah, he did.
and yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, he
wasn't that like months ago?
Yeah, and then he was
It
like,
just
okay, no, I'm
started
training
again.
for Columbus, so I can't play in StarCraft yet,
Right.
so... And I mean, when he called him out, he was like, I'll beat him in StarCraft, so I don't see why they would play a different game. Like, this guy wants to play a
He
different
played
game.
his
Okay.
friend that was actually better than him and controlled it on stream and beat his friend.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he just didn't want anything to do with it. after that.
This is childish.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
childish,
little
but it's
silly.
it's a little bit
It's just-
hilarious too. It's something to talk
Well,
about,
it's,
right?
it's just like
Yeah,
Coach
yeah, it is,
Cinco
it is.
saying, I'm going to go play soccer professionally.
Yeah.
And then
Omerta,
try to
Omerta,
do-
what do you think, man?
I think In Control should stomp this kid. I had a Halo kid challenge me to StarCraft last night at like 4 in the morning, or not last night, Sunday night, like 4 in the morning, and I was wasted, and probably would have played him in my on my laptop in the lobby if I'd gotten the chance. But I don't know. I mean, whatever. I don't think In Control is gonna be taking it too seriously.
No, it's just banter. It's banter
Yeah.
back and forth.
It's like entertainment. That's
I don't know if you guys
Exactly
know
what-
who the Halo Pro is. It's legit. Who's He's a really famous.
No,
Halo
I know he's
pro.
legit, but who
yeah,
is
he
he?
was-
What's his name?
Gosh.
Well,
All right.
neutral.
All right. Newbie, thanks for the question, man. But as always, I always love Jeff's reactions to things, especially when I made those team mistakes. I thought his tweets were really funny about those. But appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, crap. Disconnected now. Sorry, dude.
Cut off.
Sorry. Well, I got a lot of calls I got to get through, man.
Clutch not only says Team Pulp, but he's rude to
Oh, my
callers.
gosh. Sorry. Sorry, noob. Miracle Worker.
Miracle Worker.
This
guys.
picture with these lightsabers and this Tyrannosaurus Rex is crazy, man.
Thank you.
Your question, sir.
So I just wanted to say, thanks for everything you guys do. It was an amazing weekend. I enjoyed all of it. As for, I was just wondering, as a gold member, how do you think they could improve that situation? They advertise, buy the gold, ads free, and then I have these minutes, these periods of just blank nothing. And I enjoy all 5 streams. I was running the fighting games, the Halo, but even just these blank spots where it's just me having to shuffle through on full screen, find out what's going on, who's playing who. Is there any way, have you heard what's going on with that, what they're planning on doing?
Actually, I have a question for you. I've got a question for you, and I think you can help us improve in this regard.
What's up?
Because, okay, it's impossible just the way the games are staggered to have full content at all times, and then that would eliminate Clutch and his dancing, so that would be terrible. So we need to have, breaks put in there, but
What's up, son?
it's like literally impossible to have the games all on at the same time, because it's something we deal with on game plays more, because the mainstream knows what they're getting all the time, but on game play 1, 2, and 3, we're sort of jockeying for position now. In the times where there's dead screen, is it better to put, would you rather see like a bracket up and to just have casters talking about the bracket, or pools up and talking about who's doing what in the pools? Because here's the thing is, we can't have games. It's just not going to happen when it's always going to be filled with games. What do you want to see?
Yeah, so I have just little thoughts about it. Maybe just that, how everyone always says esports didn't clash very well with TV programming. Is there any way to have immediate VODs from the A/B stream, and then throw them in, and just like instead of dedicating 4 streams to StarCraft, having you're a gold member, we're going to provide this stream filled with content. It might not all be chronological, but that would be it. But as your suggestion is, I would love to see the pool play, and maybe not just the pools and the brackets, but Shibby's discussion that he has the week or 2 weeks
right.
before the tournaments happen, or at least I was pretty bummed out when Stefano got knocked out. I would have loved to actually hear stories about the rest of the Koreans, all 18 of them that came over, and hear stories. I don't follow GOM TV. I just don't have time for all the VODs, but I do follow all the MLGs. But
Kind of more
they say-
pre-production VOD stuff that people have we've recorded beforehand that we can play during that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Slasher used to have the on-floor commentaries with players, fans, things like that, just to fill those gaps. Even if it's not, I don't want necessarily a dedicated stream to that, but just so when people buy gold, I think it might even be going out the door. Gold was the last time you could purchase it this time around.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be something now.
Gold's out the
You
door, but
You could have like from the player pit, just like during downtime, just like a guy just talking
That's what I
about
was
what's
gonna
happening.
say.
Yeah,
that'd be
that's
great.
cool.
Something-
Because, I mean, basically, you need some kind of break so that the people that aren't gold members are sitting there watching an advertisement. So basically what they do is they just have a shot of the crowd, and then it says coming up next what it is, right? And that's going to be up there for anywhere between 1 minute and 3 minutes, because that's when they're running their advertisement. So if instead of just having that shot of the crowd, you have someone down on the floor talking to just people in the crowd saying, what do you think of that series? And then you just go to the next one like that. But I think this is the kind of thing where, they'll get there, it's like...
we didn't have a camera. We didn't have a camera for that. That's the answer. We didn't have a
That's the
camera for
problem.
that. That's why.
It's just such a new thing, right? It's like...
I feel that it's pretty awesome so far, but it seems that MLG's gone the route of more streams. We're going to cast more games, give you more content, but at the same time, I can't watch all 6 streams, 5 streams, and have the audio going. I have to like flip through. Match 1 is over, or game 1 is over. The match, find a new one, go to the fighting game. Oh my god, that's a sick combo. Go to Halo Reach and just be like, oh, did you see that no scope? That was fucking sick. And just but
you watch all of the games. You watch like the other games as well.
Yeah, so I split up my browsers. I have my big TV.
Still
and my
not
monitor.
enough content.
You are a gentleman and a scholar.
There's not enough content. I think you need to buy more monitors, man.
It's just it's not the content, but it's me trying to find not blank space and not the first 5 minutes of a StarCraft match where it's he likes to proxy racks because proxy racks is pretty good. Yeah, and I don't want to have me having to shuffle through the 5 streams. I would like to maybe have a gold stream or the premium stream where it's here's the content, here's these matches laid out, here's an interview with these guys, here's an interview on the floor. Go, 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 go.
Insatiable appetite for content. So almost like the Dr. Pepper stream tried to do at Arena kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is the Arena. At the Arena, there were no commercial breaks. It was never, we'll have a shot of the players sitting there for a minute while we run the ad. It's just like,
go.
Keeps on going.
What do you think? Last question. Let me get one more question because I love good input. What would you think of a telestrator Madden moment where they go over replays of what already happened? Like you said, not necessarily chronologically, but you have like maybe even a player come in and do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Talk about their own match.
Anything that shows the highlights, since that's a point where these live streams are lagging behind TV programming, is the instant replay. Mm-hmm. The oh my god, why did everyone just scream, or why is that crowd going insane on that stream? What's going on? Yeah, I would love to see stuff like that.
Well, you might not have noticed, but we did experiment with that on stream 1. The awesome guys running production would just be like, give us the high sign, we'll start recording highlights. And then when we had downtime, we would go over the highlights from that match while the next matches were getting set up. So I know they are definitely working toward that. And by the way, thank you so much for buying gold and supporting MLG. That's awesome. Thanks so much for doing
it. It was definitely a worthy purchase. I wanted to ask you though, that was Tumba, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So
last question, Merc Walker.
Would you consider sacrificing a stream to dedicate yourself to these content providing, like just having these moments, the next step in quality towards the MLG stream? Is that it?
Oh wow.
And before you answer that, I'll just do the last question and get out of your hair. Do you think this compact open bracket is hurting a lot of the players that are coming over, or is that something they could transfer to an online competition pre-tournament, or is that what the Arena pay-per-view has kind of become? That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you very much for taking my calls, guys.
Okay, man.
In reverse, part 2, yes, that's what the online is about. In part 1, I think the games are always going to take precedence over like replay review content, right? But I think what we can do better is both. Is as doing the games, we're going to get to a point where we can capture those, and it has to go this route. Like it has to. Production has to improve. Clutch is always asking, how can we improve? Like everyone's asking, how can we improve? I think that during those matches, if you can capture key moments, record those, go over them afterwards, that's far better than adding just a dedicated stream of content that's going to end up coming across as white noise, because there's not even Clutch can fill a stream the entire time, and the games are what we're all there to watch.
Because that's how the schedule works, and honestly, I'm not going to grab a player that just got knocked out of the tournament and ask him, hey, how you doing, man? How's it going? Because they're not open to be interviewed like that. And also, I'm not going to grab a player to do a player pit interview and talk about different matches when they have to get ready for another match. So it's really, we're getting better at it because we keep doing it, and I understand towards the finals it's a little bit more difficult because there's less players or less games to cast from. I mean, all the gameplay streams are getting down into the finals. But that's kind of the name of the game right now with esports and with MLG tournaments, is these huge long marathons, these great events. We have a lot of people that can join the open bracket. We just, there has to be a little bit of patience of the matches, because it's not like a Super Bowl where you get to watch for 2.5 hours and it's all this content that they've made for those 2.5 hours that they can fill. This is a whole weekend. But Mike, or America Worker, if he's still on stream, thank you for the input, man. But we need to get some other callers here, because a lot of people are still calling in. So take care.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
I don't know, Miracle Worker. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that. I want to roar when I look at his picture.
It's not a team. I don't know.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's just so funny. Okay, another call here. We got Mikhail. Let me add him to the group here. Invite to group call. Mikhail, you're on Shifting Gears. Can you hear us? Hello,
Can you hear
hello.
me?
Yes, we can hear
there
you.
it is.
Okay. First off, great job at MLG Columbus, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed watching.
Thanks.
And I want to jump to my questions.
Okay.
You can
Do it.
hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. I have two major problems that I want to really point out. First one is it's maybe a dead horse that's been beaten a lot of times. The extended series.
John
That
Nelson.
horse is
John
tiny.
Nelson, man.
It's,
boy.
it's
That's
not even
all,
a horse
that's-
anymore. It's just
yeah.
like a pile of goo.
Yeah. John Nelson, dude.
Everyone hates it. Nobody wants it. It's so unentertaining to watch a match that's probably already been decided. Like, I can remember it was Sake versus someone, I think. It was just... It was
Huck. It was Huck.
Yeah, versus Huck. It ended before it even began.
Hey.
The matches were great, the one that did get played, but the extended series just killed that.
I have two
I'm
things
gonna
about
disagree.
the extended series.
Okay,
yeah, I
I'll have
disagree,
Dylan talk about
Go,
this,
Dylan. Yep.
and then Omerta, but guys, be quick.
Okay. All right. In the fighting game community that we just had, people loved the extended series. It actually just created. I mean, I understand the matches are a lot quicker. It added a whole new element to somebody that has to win like 5 matches in a row, and people did it. And also, didn't Lenok do it? Didn't Lenok come back in an extended series? And
Yeah, I think it's very different in StarCraft, though. It's not
well,
like...
Lenok did it.
It's just how the game works. Like,
Lenok
Yep.
did it, didn't they?
yeah,
But-
no, tons of people have done it. It happens.
Yeah. It's fine.
Happens all the
And-
time, especially towards the finals.
I don't think
Yeah,
it
but-
happened one
Alright.
set, but anyway.
Well, Romania, that's a question to bring up to John
Yeah.
Nelson. He might be on State of the Game here pretty soon. Find out your
When
second
I-
question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
one question.
Omerta.
Yeah.
Sorry, Omerta.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I want to weigh in on this. I've seen this written a lot. People saying that it's ruining the series because it's basically already decided. I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I think any StarCraft player is perfectly capable of winning 4-1 against a player of relatively equal skill. Now, the reason the extended series exists is because without it in a double elimination tournament, it's possible for you to be eliminated by a player that you've won more games against. Like, you can win 2-0 and then lose 1-2 and technically be 3-2 against a player and be eliminated by them.
Mhm.
That's why it exists, and I think that's the more fair variation of the rule. Because you're down, 2-1 or 1-2 or 0-2 in a series does not mean you're incapable of winning it. Like, a StarCraft player should be able to and should be expected to be able to beat a player 4-1 or 3-1 even in some cases. I don't think that's unreasonable at all.
If you look at the ladder, you'll see that almost nobody has above 70% win rate. So in a tournament setting, when everyone is actually like dead equal on skill,
Well,
winning
part of-
like 4 matches in a row and not dropping one should be practically impossible.
Well, and I agree with you, but at the same point in time, you have to look back at what they did before. I mean, if you lose 0-2 to a player, does that mean, what does that mean? Does that mean you're worse than them? Does that mean you just had an off series? I don't know, but I think what extended series does also is it forces every player to be playing their best at all times.
Okay.
I understand.
All right,
Okay.
Mikhail, let's move on to your second question.
Yeah, I want to say that as well because anyway.
Is that a BCF?
Second question is, even Tasteless and Artosis probably don't do this enough, but the other casters are... I'm not going to use a word. Okay, about the terrain observing and strategy. They never ever point out the really small details in what a really good terrain player does, except for the really obvious ones like MKP picking up with medivacs and dropping them behind
The
force
Thors,
fields, the Thors, the infantry, when he was being surrounded by force fields, he would pick them up, drop them behind the force fields, and work them against the zealots, and so on and so forth. Yeah, they point out the major things, but you see, he starts off with with fast gas, and everyone will say, he's going probably cloak bench. No, he's probably not. That's just an example, but usually I'm grandmasters in Europe, and when I see casters,
not everybody's
so
grandmasters in Europe.
Yeah, I know, but they should really try.
There's a lot of people out there that need the big things.
Okay, no, I see what he's saying. Like, here's the talent that, and somebody said this over the weekend, the talent that Nick and Dan have that nobody else does is the ability to cast to noobs and grandmasters and have both entertained. That's the trick, right? But this goes back to what I was saying earlier. And I appreciate what you want to see, and all of us strive to get there as casters. And believe me, we know we've got a lot of work to do to catch up because StarCraft's a young game, and a lot of people are just getting into StarCraft 2 that weren't even into Brood War. So I appreciate more than you realize what you want. The fact of the matter is, though, to pick up on those nuances, it takes time and work.
Wait.
Okay.
But that's not just a nuance. That's complete lack of just watching a ladder game and seeing what the meta game is, seeing what they should look out for. How many racks does he have? Why does he have 3 racks now and not 6 racks? And they all just go with the lines. Oh, he's going mech. Oh, he's going bio, and that's it. That's just it. They never say.
So how do you think they should articulate it better or deeper? What
you
would
want
make
to be more
happy?
technical. That's you want to like.
Maybe technical, but when a Zerg player, and that's why I'm gonna say that the turn observing is absolutely the worst, is because when a Zerg or Protoss gets casted, they always go. Casters always say, "Oh, it's a 7-gate pressure. It's clear." Yeah, I get it. They see the nuances there. They see the Grandmaster plan of the Protoss player, and the Zerg player is even more obvious. They put down a Hydra, then it's going for Hydras. That's it. I know it's harder to really pick up on Terran and what.
No, I agree so much. But
they never go into his base and look for like 10 seconds. What is his plan? What does he want to do? He has 3 Raxes, but you don't say, "Oh, he's going for Marines."
Okay,
no, I agree so much.
go ahead.
It's like as like a Terran player going bio. That's a very general thing to say. Like, you've got a Terran player playing against Protoss, they can go bio and they say they've got 6 barracks. Maybe they've got 5 tech labs and 1 reactor. But other players will have 3 tech labs and 3 reactors.
Exactly.
And it is very, very, very different. And you know what? It's like kind of a big topic of discussion lately. They've got the subtitled Korean commentary, and it's kind of a lot more technical, but it's just kind of different. And the only thing I can really say is that a lot of the people casting now, it's like they're doing, like the Korean casters, you know what they do? They cast. Look at Diapollo. He is doing so, like casters who aren't the Korean ones, who are just salaried employees, they have to worry about so much. Even Day 9, I mean, he lives off his web show, which is kind of something really independent, like it's about StarCraft, but it's still kind of its own thing.
Like Fun Day Monday and Newbie Tuesdays
exactly.
and stuff like that. He has to appeal to a bigger audience that don't understand the more technical aspects of the competitive part of gaming.
Like, I'm just saying, I think we'll get there. I agree. Like, I am very picky about the casting I listen to, and quite often a lot of things really bother me too. But
I think you'd lose an audience if you went with this technical stuff. I think you would lose.
No, it's not like
audience.
it's not like night.
No.
It's completely additive. It doesn't like. It's like watching, like Wolf is one of my favorite casters, but when I listen to him cast and he casts a Protoss game, it's 100 times better than a Terran versus Zerg, because he spends so much time playing Protoss. He knows the builds in and out. He knows like gas timings. He knows all of that stuff. And when he articulates it, it's not in a way that's like offensive to someone who doesn't know the game well. It's purely additive, and all it is that people just need to spend more time doing it. You know, if you're not worried about how many Twitter followers you have and promoting this, and for a lot of people having a real job outside of doing this, then the quality of your work will get better. Like
that's exactly was my point. Can the caster talk now? That's not that. I mean, sorry, Ob.
Yeah.
No, but that was my point. Like, it's going to take time. Like you have to understand. It's one thing. I know that you want that level of casting to occur now, and Dylan's right, you can't go over technical either. But like he's speaking, I think specifically to Terran, right? Because there's a lot of nuance with Terran. But again, it doesn't matter what race it is, because each race has all their nuances. But exactly like Adebisi and I said, it takes time. And what people don't appreciate, what the community doesn't appreciate, is the fact that guess what, guys? There's a handful of people getting paid to do this, which means I would love to go into an office every day, sit down, and do nothing but watch StarCraft. That would be great. Take notes and get ready for a cast. That's awesome. MLG would love to pay everybody to be able to cast full-time and provide them offices where they could go and study this and make it top-notch. Here's the deal. It's not realistic. It can't happen. So people have jobs. They can't commit 100% of their time to esports yet. Esports isn't there yet to get this level of casting. So we have Nick and Dan to look up to, and unfortunately, it's just going to take more time and more effort. And, believe me, though, the casters want to get there. They want to improve.
Yeah,
That's a great point, Tumba.
Yeah.
Probably I'm just a little, how should I say it, butthurt. That,
Hey, well, you know
Protoss
what,
and Zerg-
Mikhail? It's good that you bring it up because it's a goal that they can work towards, right? That we can all work towards. This is a kind of standard we want to set, right? But also, it takes patience to get there. But you being a grandmaster in Europe is fantastic. Are you going to plan to try to enter into the spring arena?
Actually, no. I just play for fun. I don't really like playing competitively in tournaments.
Just online now.
And the one thing I will say is, if you notice things, if you see like a player do the same build 3 times in a match and the caster doesn't really pick up on how it's significant, just find their Team Liquid name, send them a message, and like don't come off like a jackass, but just say, look, man, I was watching you cast, and there was this series with, let's say, the Terran player alive, and he did this build, and just kind of explain it to them, and more often than not, they'll be so happy to hear your feedback, because giving feedback in like a public setting, just posting in the Team Liquid live report thread that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, that's all just noise. It doesn't help. But if you want to help people, because I mean, it's just hard to be able to put in time casting to be able to actually know the game on an intimate level, because it's like when I cast and I haven't seen every single GSL Code S match, that's completely up to date. I just feel like a jackass. But it's like there's no time. You can't have seen absolutely everything and keep tabs on everything. So,
Yeah, but just saying one more thing. When I said that I was buttered, I meant as in because Protoss and Zerg casters like Tasteless and Artosis do know the game pretty much in and out, but they do know it better for Zerg and Protoss better than when it comes to Terran. I mean, there are probably no really high-end casters for Terran. That's another thing. There are so many good casters they pick up nuances like Wolf for Protoss, like Artosis for Protoss, but nobody for Terran. Specifically.
Because to be good at Terran, you have to play all the time instead of cast.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah.
Mikhail, thank you so much for the
guys.
call, my friend, and good luck on the ladder,
great job
man.
at MLG again. I love you, Clutch, with your dance moves.
Thank you.
Really awesome.
Thanks, man. I got to come to Romania. They love dancing over there.
Yeah, you have
Right.
to.
All right.
DreamHack.
Maybe. DreamHack. Take care.
Okay, see ya.
Peace.
That was a good call. I've got another one from David Kim.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
David Kim, we can hear you.
What is up, sir?
Alrighty, what is up, guys? First of all, Clutch, I love you, Team Pult, man.
Team
You're
Pult.
awesome. I love you.
P.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys discussed this already, but everyone at MLG, this Columbus, was asking others like Kespa and OGN are talking with Blizzard on a StarCraft 2 league for all the Flash, Jade on Bisu to switch over to Star 2. And what do you guys all think? Panel discussion on what'll happen if they do that.
Rapid fire, I'll go first. I think it's great. The huge scene in Korea from Brood War is fantastic. It's like the mecca of esports, right? But
Right.
StarCraft 2 is here, and Blizzard really wants to push StarCraft 2, and they're in talks with Kespa. And having players like Flash to come over to that scene would be incredible. So I think it's a step forward and it's a step up in success, but we'll see what happens. But we'll find out more in April. Wigan?
I'm less excited for Kespa and more excited for Brood War Pros and OGN. Like OGN coming over is just massive. That's all the popularity in Korea, and all those Brood War Pros switching over is going to bring that to StarCraft 2.
And all their fans with them.
Yeah, it isn't there yet. So I'm really excited to see that, and I think the only people that wouldn't be excited to see Flash playing Terran in StarCraft 2 or Jaedong playing Zerg are people that are pros right now and are a little worried about getting taken over.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm super excited.
Omerta?
Yeah, I mean, OGN is the place to be for Korean StarCraft, so them putting money into the scene, I think you'll see better production out of them. I mean, I think GOM's done a great job with the GSL, but I think OGN will kind of blow them out of the water in terms of production. I think they'll have more influence on current Brood War pros coming over. I think that, yeah, OGN in StarCraft 2 will just take it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tumba.
I like to echo sort of Wiggins' point, where I like the fact that, just all the Brood War pros coming over, also Galen, of course, and, also going back to the caller, Mikhail, that you went ahead and said he wants to get better casting. That's awesome, because maybe it's an opportunity for me to get over to Korea, and, it's more Korean outlets, the better, so we can get over there and all learn more about the game.
Adebisi?
I'm excited. Set, man. That's it. I'm just excited.
Dylan, your thoughts?
I'm actually going to be serious. I think it's going to be cool to see all the pros together. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
On a united, worldly StarCraft 2 league, with
Yeah.
GSL, GOM, OGN, etc., etc.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool, man. It really
Just
would be.
imagine an aircraft hangar filled with.
I get to
StarCraft
see even more roaches.
Yeah, more roaches. That's true.
All
That's
the
true.
No, Flash with Marine Marauder medevac can be scary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Oh, God.
Well, and I think what happened, too, is they saw the Western scene with tournaments like MLG and went, wow, the West is like this now? All right, time to go to StarCraft 2.
They brought down, remember when they brought all the players to BlizzCon, and
Yeah.
people were like,
Yep.
oh, they're going to
Yeah.
do show matches or something, and then they just did nothing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
They were scouting it out, man. They were the recon group and went, you know
Yeah.
what? We had thousands of people there going nuts. It's time to move over. The
That
West
was the best event they could have went to, actually. That was
Yeah.
really good.
Definitely.
BlizzCon. Yeah.
The West is getting up to part of what Korea's been doing for the last 12 years, and so now that they recognize that, especially with the vehicle of StarCraft 2 compared to Brood War, because of its newness, is really going to help that gap to be bridged between those two cultures, I think, which is
Perfect
happening already.
timing.
It's happening
Yeah,
already.
The
GSL.
timing of all this is just perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, David Kim, thanks for the call.
Thanks for answering, guys.
All right, take care.
You too.
Okay, another caller here. Having a little bit of a late show. It's okay.
For the people.
Chris Pence, you are on Shifting Gears. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yep.
what up?
Very well.
I have a question for Wigan.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I was wondering what your diet's like. Like, what exactly
knew it.
do you eat that has left you like such a blob of a human being? I mean,
I knew
essentially, you're like a land whale.
I saw it coming. I knew it.
Just Mountain Dew. That's it. That's the only
Just
thing I eat.
Mountain Dew. Was that all, Chris? All
I
right,
guess that was
thank
all.
you. That was it.
Watching
Sickest
porn now.
call, NA.
That was it.
I
Wow.
could see, being that I'm such a good troll, I knew the troll was getting coming. So.
Yeah.
Best call, NA.
He's just one just didn't yell into the mic.
Something like that. Okay. Well, gentlemen, I think it's getting pretty close to wrap up the show here. We might have one more caller. Hold on.
Let's not end on that one.
No, let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not. Let's not.
It's
have that one
legendary.
at all.
I'm
Can we
surprised,
throw in a
too.
fighting thing? Can we throw in a fighting announcement or a rumor?
Yes, throw it in.
Do it.
Apparently, word has it that MLG Adam confirmed that there will be a fighter arena before Anaheim.
Woo!
So that's
Fighter Arena before
Fighter arena.
That would
before
be
Anaheim
sick.
or before August?
That's sick. Was it before August or okay? I might have read it wrong. Was it before August? Let me see.
Double check your sources.
Yep.
Dude, there is something about the fighting community.
No,
like,
it says before Anaheim. Before
Wow,
Anaheim.
cool, man.
that's awesome.
That's quick, yeah.
That's
there's
fast.
a lot.
What are they
there
just? Are they just gonna like fly the top 8 of one of these
Probably.
events and then
Probably.
have them? That'll be interesting. That'll be very interesting.
I would love to see the top. I would watch it. And it's
That'd be cool.
I'd check it out. I mean, it's definitely not going to be pay-per-view, so.
Raging Cajun, you're on Shifting Gears.
Oh, my boy.
Asian.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, man? You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I just want to start off by saying, Wigan, I'll have mine do, so don't feel bad. And also I had another, and my question was, what are your opinions on having, say, like a fan day? So, like on before the event or after the event, they kind of touched up on this a little bit on Inside the Game today. And I was just wondering what your opinions were. Like, I know MLG is a big, stressful event, how they have like players are playing for like a lot of money, so all their nerves are focusing on their game. And do you think like having fans come up during that event kind of makes them lose focus during that, and they should have a set date, or do you think that it's okay, or they shouldn't have one?
Can I go first on this?
Sure.
I want to make an analogy and I'll be quick. If you look at professional golf, PGA, it's one of the few things you can go to and be 5 feet away from the players. And there's never really been, in all the years of golf, a major problem with a pro saying, oh my God, the crowd screwed me up. Like, it happens, but it hasn't been so big. Like, they realize that's how they pay the bills. So I think the fan interaction is critical. It's part of being a professional StarCraft 2 player. It's something you have to deal with. I mean, that's just it. That's it. If taking away from that and not having that close interaction, especially at the point of the growth of esports right now, and just having a dedicated day to it that maybe somebody would miss, no way. Like, the energy of that crowd definitely feeds the competition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was just wondering, because I know on one of the, I think it was the last MLG Columbus, where Liquid Tyler set a date, like I said, a specific time for his fans to like go up and sign autographs.
Signings.
Yeah,
Just that specific time. And then he also said like during that event he didn't want to have like fans approach him while
Well,
he's
it's easier for
playing the
him to
games.
take steps. It's easier for him to take steps to avoid that than it is to change the entire venue around or the whole system. Like, stay in your room, do whatever, get security. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just easier for him to make that solution.
What if they had like 4 hours on Thursday, right? In a barred off section of the convention center, Thursday evening at 5 o'clock, like 5 to 9, right? Where fans could come in and meet their players and have autograph
I think that'd be
signings.
cool.
They'd have a huge booth for all the players there that got invited
They
to
should
be there.
do that anyway.
Yeah, I
they
think
should
it'll
do
get
that.
there. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of.
Yeah, they should
Yeah.
do that regardless.
Kind of like
like
a
a million
pre-tournament
things, right?
thing.
Yeah, like a pre kind of like
to kick off the tournament.
yeah, like a fan meet and
Yeah.
greet pre thing where they can get a lot of the signatures done. Plus, people that like carry around stuff that they want to sign, they can have the players sign it then, so they don't have to carry it
Sure.
around with them during the event. Yeah, I'd be
And
I'd be
charge for it.
cool.
And charge for that too. Charge for that interaction. You
Yeah,
should charge.
man. Oh, you want to meet your fans? It's
No,
an extra
I'll give you a
$15.
better one. Seriously,
dollars.
from a business aspect, charge for it and give the teams a cut for participating because the teams are always looking for ways to make new revenue.
Well, it's like, how many mouse pads do you think they sell at the convention center strictly because people want to get them signed? Like,
Yeah, and you've had the
and they
shop
don't even
open,
market
that's
them
even
as
more
something to get
stuff
them
sold.
signed, right?
Yeah.
Like,
True.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Tumba, you need to make a phone call, man.
Well, I know I've had this conversation with an unnamed MLG employee that actually said like they would like get glossies of Huck and be like, well, I'm just using him as an example, and have him do a signing and charge for him or charge for the position to be there. And it's something that MLG can do to ingratiate themselves with the teams as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Great idea, Clutch. Good idea out of Easy.
It would give the fans a chance to like get just more knowledgeable about the players and get to see them close up in a different environment.
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's on a day when the players aren't thinking about their brackets and schedules. I mean, they're thinking about the tournament, but it also allows them to think about this is why I compete because of meeting all these fans, and it gives them a little boost of confidence.
Yeah. I
Plus,
don't see
the
anything wrong with
Koreans could better get adjusted to jet lag. Because they have to stay up till 9 o'clock and then go to sleep after that instead of the crazy time frames. I don't know. I'm just throwing a bunch of stuff out there, but I think it would be a success if they did it on Thursday night. Anyways, yeah, Raging Cation, thanks for the call, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's good.
Alrighty. All right, I think that's going to be it for us, gentlemen, for the show. Thank you so much for being on. Thanks to all our callers, even the trolls. That was fun.
Yeah.
And special shout out to everybody that came to MLG Columbus and the people that wanted autographs. I thought that was really neat. I got to sign for some people. So we're going to go ahead and start off with shout outs, going with Wigan.
Shout out to all my other refs, like Ron, Rich, Jake, who is Solid Jake on Twitter. You should follow him. And Ryan, my boss. And follow me on Twitter, MLG_Wigan. And on Twitch TV, MLG_Wigan as well. That's it.
Thank you, Wigan, for being on the show. You are a fantastic human being and a good friend, no matter what trolls say. Omerta?
Always a pleasure.
Yep. My Twitter is right down there, MLG Omerta. I will post on there when I stream, which I'm going to start doing a little bit more of, stream some Star 2 and some League. And then also, guys, make sure you follow the MLG SC2 Scores Twitter. That's at MLG SC2 Scores. That's what I run at the events, along with Pat O'Neill, a.k.a. Chobo Peon. I mean, we keep you guys updated, like, literally up to the second. And I was getting yelled at every once in a while because I was posting stuff so fast and, like, there's a 30-second delay on the streams or whatever, and people were complaining about spoilers from matches from Twitter, but I'll try not to do that as much. But, I mean, seriously, we give you, like, we're out there on the floor the whole time. As soon as results come in, we put them up. So if you're having trouble keeping up with everything, just make sure you follow that Twitter.
All right. Thanks, Omerta. Tumba?
Special shout out to somebody I should have done earlier, actually, to Tigress, a.k.a. Lily, my fiance, for doing all the makeup at the event.
I'm gonna bring my own next time too after finding out we have one. But yeah, thanks, Lily.
Yeah, thank you to you, of course. Big shout out to SE2 quote of the day. It's at SE2 quotes. I always feel like if I cast an event and I don't get at least one in there, I'm disappointed in myself. So shouts out to them, and of course, shouts out to One Nation of Gamers, which is the Barcraft League. I'll be casting that in the tournament they're doing this week coming up, so grab a listen, check out Reddit for the schedule there. And of course, shouts out to you, Clutch. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Adebisi.
Just shout outs to I guess I'll say Cyanide. Follow I'll tweet his Twitter or something, I don't know, but he's pretty good at what he does, doing production for the mainstream. I don't even know.
He was the director of the mainstream.
I don't think his title is director, but he's the guy who I hear in my ear a lot, and he was pretty cool. And he's the director. He is the director. I thought, like, there's the producer, then
producer
the
is Puckett. The producer is Puckett.
These are all just made up titles, man. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's but Puckett too. Actually, Puckett, he did a great job, man. Everybody on it's so interesting because, of course, I'm used to being on the other streams, and so the mainstream with the whole set thing, it's an entirely new experience, and it was a lot of fun. So, and shout out just to anyone who went to MLG because that was a pretty big crowd.
It was very good. Dylan, my man.
Shout outs to myself.
Yeah. Spice Weasel.
No, follow me, Dylan J. Lauer. Follow just like Galen. He does the StarCraft 2 scores, which are awesome, which I follow while I'm doing the fighting game, which is MLG FG scores. If you're too busy watching StarCraft but you still want to know what's happening in the fighting games, it's the best way to follow it. Also, shout out to Waddles, who has to put up with me on the show. See him? He's awesome. And shout out to Roaches, because they're the best.
Yeah.
They the best!
Do the best! We're the best!
DJ Khaled.
That exit. All right, gentlemen, thanks so much for being on the show. Thank you to all our callers that called in. This has been a great episode of Shifting Gears. You can follow me on Twitter at Clutch08. Looking forward to the next esports events coming up. Until then, I'll announce any cool things that I'm doing. I don't know, I'm getting prepped for, Diablo 3 coming out May 15th and me graduating on May 4th. Hopefully be up in New York City next month for the arena. But until that time, we'll see you guys next week. Have fun. Take care. Good game.
CKY, best troll NA.
Gold League for
Still
life.
mad about getting 2 racks.
Adebisi didn't mean me about those Twitter comments.